Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Market psychologist says XRP 300x price predictions are delusional. 10x may be possible. So look, here's the deal. I think that there are a lot of analysts out there, and I'll take them at their word they believe this is plausible. There are a lot of analysts that are calling for 3-digit XRP this market cycle. Now look, I acknowledge it's possible if you're talking over a really long period of time, perhaps decades, I don't know what it would take. It's possible to see 3-digit XRP. There's way more than enough money on the planet for that to happen and bid the price up of XRP that high. If it's truly going to be long-term viable, if it's substantially adopted, it's not crazy to think over a very long period of time that could happen. If you do think it's going to happen this market cycle, that's where you lose me. No, and no offense to anybody that believes this, I'm challenging ideas. That's all I'm doing in this video, just to be super duper clear. Because here's what's going to happen in the end. This market cycle at some point is going to come to an end, and we're all going to know what happens. And so the people who think that we're going to see 3-digit XRP, if they're wrong, then they have to own that. They're on the record. They're publicly out there. On the flip side, if they're right and I'm wrong and we do see 3-digit XRP, I'm going to own that. And frankly, I won't be that sad to say it, even though I'll sold off my XRP well before that, because it'll be way too much of my net worth for me to not sell it all. Still, I'll be celebrating the fact that it even happened because I've been a part of this ride since late 2017. That would be amazing to see. But if I'm wrong, I will own that. Of course I will. So what I'm going to do is challenge the idea here because I just think it's out there. Now, this is going to be more than just commentary. I crunched some numbers before recording this video to illustrate just how impossible this is. It's completely ridiculous in my mind to think that this is actually going to unfold, specifically this market cycle. Now, I do believe that XRP is going to be worth an absolute fortune, and I think it can happen and is likely to happen this market cycle, even though nobody knows for sure what's going to happen. And on the flip side, there are people that have expectations of XRP price that, in my estimation, just my humble opinion, are way too low. So it goes on both sides. It's just that I'm going to focus on one particular extreme in this video. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, piece reads as follows. Michael XBT, a Bitcoin investor and market psychologist with a decade of experience, expressed his conviction that anticipating 30,000% price gains from XRP in this cycle is a pipe dream. So let me just pause to state this, and I'm going to dumb this down as much as possible, and then give me a couple minutes, we'll get into some of the specific numbers. Just as a concept, let's talk here. Let's say that I throw a $20 bill on a table, and we'll just, for the sake of this hypothetical, we'll just call that we'll just pretend that that's a market cap for this little closed ecosystem where there's only $20. There's a $20 bill right there. What would it take to have a 100% increase in the market cap of the money that's on that table? Well, it wouldn't take much. It would just take one more $20 bill, and that's easy. Anybody could double that market cap. You just come in, if you're in a first world country, you got 20 bucks in your pocket, throw it down, bam, 100% increase. That didn't take much. It took one human, right? Okay. Well, what if there's 5 people and they each throw in 20 bucks? Now you got $100 within this ecosystem that have been thrown in, right? Well, how much money has to come in to double or triple or quadruple that? Well, it'd take more. You have to find more humans to do that. Okay. Well, what if there's a market cap that's $1 million? Okay. Well, that's harder still. Right? You have to get way, it's harder to do. So you can see why, on a very basic level, why it's harder to get a market cap to double, triple, quadruple the more it has grown. Because there have to be that many more people jumping in. If there's almost nobody in it, well, that's why there's opportunity. And that's why we in crypto, being the early adopters, we've had this opportunity, we still have this opportunity to have crazy multiplier effects. That's a primary reason this opportunity exists. There's almost no money in crypto. It's a tiny asset class. I mean, at the time I'm recording this, what's the market cap? $2.2 trillion. And over half of that is just in Bitcoin. So you look at XRP with a $31.9 billion market cap, that's almost no money. So yes, XRP is a large cap coin, but there's so little in XRP that if it takes off, yeah, we really do have that incredible opportunity, right? And so, but that's why, if you're talking about, think about from the bottom to the top of the 2017 cycle, XRP increased 80,000%, literally 80,000%. You are not going to get that again. It started at half a penny. You will not get an 80,000% increase, but that doesn't matter. We don't need that. You can still have life-changing wealth without that. But, that's why when you're talking about 30,000% gains from, where it is now in one market cycle, folks, sorry to piss in your Cheerios, it's not gonna happen. Like, it just is, it's not. And so then they write here, the expert conveyed this view in response to analyst Javon Marks, who has repeatedly highlighted how XRP could advance up to $150 or 41,400% in this bull season. So again, I want to be crystal clear, nothing against this analyst, Javon Marks. I found out about him in recent months. I've highlighted some of his stuff, and in terms of what he's highlighting certain metrics, I think he's hitting the nail on the head. The one thing where I absolutely respectfully disagree is this idea that there's a remote chance that we're going to see $150 XRP this market cycle. And if I'm wrong, I'll own that. I will happily do that. But I just think it's so far out in left field. It's not. And again, I crunch numbers. I'm gonna show you why it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. But here's what he wrote. XRP's literally looking to be right on the brink of a massive bullish breakout and has just recently tested one. With continued market strength, this can successfully happen and open up room with a full logarithmic follow-through for an over 41,400% run into $150 plus. Okay, so again, I'm challenging the idea, not him as a person. It's not an attack on him. I am challenging his idea. I think the idea is bad. It's not about him having the idea. Any human that has an idea that's anywhere in this realm, I think the idea is bad no matter who says it. It's not about him. He reposted that post. So that was from July 21st. He reposted this a couple days ago, and he said, XRP is attempting this massive breakout again, and a successful bullish break can be right upon us. As of current, a successful breakout places the full log target well above $150. Okay, so that was reposted by Crypto Michael at MichaelXBT. That's who was referenced at the outset of that Crypto Basic article, right? And he's not buying this either. So he wrote, you'll be lucky to get a 10x on XRP this cycle. These 300x price predictions are beyond delusional. If you hold expecting these ridiculous targets, you will be left holding the bag all the way back down in the next bear market. Be careful who you listen to. And so Javon Marks responded to that, and here's what he said. XRP's done a greater than 1000x before showing its ability to produce a more than 300x. Our target is based on logarithmic connections we've seen play out successfully multiple times and not just random made-up numbers. The reason people listen is because we provide results and will continue to. The greats seem delusional until they aren't. So fine with the opinion. Blessings to you. Okay, so he's very civil, credit where it's due. But let me paint a picture as to why this absolutely is not going to happen. Okay? It's not remotely reasonable to think that this is going to happen. So let's look a little bit at history. I crunched some numbers, like I said. And I got them written down in front of me. So XRP, all-time high, and depending on the source you go to, you're going to see different all-time high numbers. Let's just go with the live coin watch. And by the way, I acknowledge I'm using rough numbers. It's going to be about right, and that's good enough for the purposes of conveying an idea in this video. But I acknowledge right now using rough numbers. It's pretty close to what they actually are in my calculations. So let's just go with $3.92 for the all-time high for XRP. Okay, so that means that XRP had a market cap at the time. Mind you, the circulating supply was lower. It was closer to 36, 38 billion, somewhere around there in 2017. And so the market cap for XRP at its peak was somewhere around, say, $141 billion, give or take, right? That was the peak. And the market cap today, again, 31.9 billion, so way lower, but the peak will say about $141 billion. Okay, so if you're talking about XRP hitting $150 based on the circulating supply today, which is much higher, it's closer to Where's the circulating supply? Is it on? It's on the screen here, isn't it? I know where it is here. So it's 50. Okay, let's use a round number. $56 billion circulating supply, or 56 billion XRP circulating supply. So, factoring that in, if XRP hits $150, that's an $8.4 trillion market cap. Now, of course, looking at market cap, that's a really bad argument to use as to why any asset is or isn't capable of hitting a price, because that doesn't mean $8.4 trillion flowed into XRP. No. All that means is we're taking a look at the circulating supply at the moment, multiplying it times the last sold price. So in this case, the last sold price in this hypothetical is $150. So you take that times, we'll use 56 billion XRP for the circulating supply, and you get $8.4 trillion. That's where the market cap comes from. That's an outrageously high market cap, of course. Even at the peak of the last cycle, it got up to 3.1, 3.2 trillion for the entire asset class. But still, that's not a great argument. I have a better one. I'm just laying the numbers out here, but check this out. Bitcoin in 2017 hit about $20,000. And based on the circulating supply at the time, that means it peaked somewhere in the neighborhood of $380 billion. So think about this. XRP for the same market cycle, 2017, and it technically peaked early January 2018, but for that market cycle, XRP peaked $141 billion roughly. Bitcoin peaked at about $380 billion. So that means if you compare XRP's peak price versus Bitcoin's peak price, and you can look at the market cap here, that means that XRP's peak market cap for the cycle reached just 37% of Bitcoin's peak market cap. 37%. Because again, it's 141 billion versus 380 billion. That's 37%. So consider this. Because we're talking about a hypothetical here, right? If XRP's peak market cap is, again, 37% of Bitcoin's peak market cap, what will that look like this market cycle? Because, mind you, here's and this is a reason that you should think that conceptually it should be fairly similar. Like the percentage can be off. It could be less, right? But understand the way that money flows through the crypto space. It almost always starts at Bitcoin. Bitcoin runs up, it leads the way. And then some people take profit, and so that's converted into fiat currency, right? But a lot of that money actually starts sloshing around through the rest of the space. It goes further out the risk curve, so it'll go into ETH, and then it could go into BNB, and it could go into other large cap coins, XRP, and then further out the risk curve. And then you get outside of the top 10, and then some of it's going to go outside of the top 100. And it cycles through from Bitcoin to other large caps, mid caps, small caps, rinse and repeat. That's what happens. That's how this flows. So the market, given that Bitcoin's leading the way, whatever Bitcoin's peak market cap is going to be, XRP's peak market cap for the cycle is going to be way lower. It's incredibly impressive that for the 2017 cycle into early 2018, it's incredibly impressive that XRP's even hit about 37%. That's really cool. That's some baller stuff right there. But if it mimics that, and I don't know that it's going to, but let's say it's 37% again, do you know what those numbers look like? Do you know how absurd they are? Because again, if XRP is actually going to hit $150 here to have that $8.4 trillion market cap, well, that means that Bitcoin would have to be $1 million and have a $21.67 trillion market cap. That's right. If we're going to have XRP's peak market cap this cycle be 37% of Bitcoins, right? If we're going to see that again this market cycle, and if XRP is actually at 150, which is what Javon Marks is calling for, then that means that Bitcoin would have to be $1 million this market cycle. Do you think there's a snowball's chance in hell that's happening? Because I don't. There's basically a 0% chance that's happening. It's completely outlandish. There's way too much money in Bitcoin to get that flowing in one single cycle. Now, if that happens, then I'd start to say, okay, well, who knows what's going to flow through? But it's not. It's not going to happen. Bitcoin's not going to $1 million. It's just not going to happen. And again, the reason this matters, and again, this would be a $21.67 trillion market cap just for Bitcoin, this market cycle. if that happened, yes, then the money would flow through to other large caps, mid caps, small caps. That's the reason this matters. That's the reason I'm sharing this information with you. And maybe way out some point in the future, Bitcoin hits $1 million, but it's not going to be this year. It just ain't happening. It takes way too much money flowing in to get Bitcoin just to double and to triple. Maybe from here, if Bitcoin's really going to be a big, great performer from here on out, maybe you get a 2 or 3x. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it goes to $120,000, $180,000. That'd be incredible. But $1 million? You got your damn mind? It ain't happening. And so to think that XRP, that this would happen without Bitcoin leading the way to that level, it ain't happened. That's why I'm telling you, this is fantasy land stuff. It doesn't make sense to think that this is plausible. It just doesn't. And that's not a dig on Javon Marks. I'm challenging the idea because I think the idea is wrong and bad. It doesn't mean I think he's bad, and it doesn't mean I think he's wrong about everything he says about XRP charts. That is wrong. And he's talking about on log. I understand. But it doesn't make sense to look at it in such terms. Because if you start looking at it, how real humans behave in real markets, then you could see, oh, wow, even if the charts say, no, it doesn't make sense to look at that. That shouldn't be entertained. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of the stuff he says otherwise and tracking various metrics, I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. He says all sorts of stuff that I think makes a lot of sense. This one's way out there. I do not think this is remotely plausible. It ain't now, I think XRP could be worth a fortune compared to where it is this market cycle. But not that. It's not remotely plausible. And so I responded to Crypto Michael because I was curious. I wrote to him and I said, I agree 300x is fantasy land stuff. I roll my eyes when I see stuff like that. Given XRP is 65 cents, it was at the time I posted this, a 10x would be $6.50. Is that about as high as you think it might get this market cycle? And so I'll remind you, and it's on your screen here, he said you'll be lucky to get 10x for XRP this cycle. That's why I asked that. And XRP was about 65 cents at the time, so I'm like, just a 10x? Okay, so $6.50? I mean, it could be right. I mean, I acknowledge it's possible. At least that would be way into all-time high territory. Like, we'll be in party land if it gets up that high. We will be. I mean, compared to where it is now and what we've gone through all these years, it would still be cool to see that. But I think that if that's the peak, I think that is going to disappoint a lot of people. But here's what he said in response to that. He said, he reposted me and he said, for XRP, I'll know the top when I see it. I'm not going to try and call it in advance. Okay, so I was surprised to see that because he said you'd be lucky to see a 10x, so he feels confident stating that. Oh, and fair enough, that's fine. But I was surprised that he felt confident to say that you'd be lucky, and then he didn't want to throw any additional perspective out there. I was a little surprised by that. But then he says, that's how I sold the top of the lawsuit win pump last summer. A bearish pattern formed and I sold. I'm not married to any coin. And that's good. And I'm not married to any coin either. I hold 42 different cryptocurrencies. If XRP ceases to make sense in my mind, I will be out and I'll explain why and I'll articulate on the channel. But I think it's very clear XRP just gets further and further adopted the more time passes, more and more useful. So happy to see that. But consider this. So if you look at Ethereum, it peaked, here's its peak day, I guess it was, January 10th, 2018, back for that cycle. It looks like it closed at $1,349. I'm pulling from memory here, so you guys can fact check this, I could be wrong, but I thought it got up, it probably wicked up, maybe it was even that day to like $1,500. So that's the close, 1,349. So I think it got up to like $1,500. From so that's early 2018, then go to the next cycle compared to where it went in 2021. It hit an all-time high of $4,861. It more than 3x'd. So that's why I'm saying, when you're talking about XRP, now it basically missed a cycle. If it just did what ETH did from one cycle to the next, and mind you, this is an even bigger gap in time. Well, if you're talking about XRP tripling its all-time high, then depending on what you consider the all-time high to be, if you think it's a little over, $3, and some people cite like $3.31 or something, then it's close. Then that would be closer to $10, a little closer as a peak, if it tops there. Or if you think it's closer to $4, then it would be $11 and change for a peak. And so I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm just saying it's not crazy to think we could see those types of price levels. There's precedent for it. And if Bitcoin runs up high enough, sure, there will be way more than enough money for that to happen, for it to slosh through the entire ecosystem, including into XRP. That's not Fantasyland stuff. Now, I'm not so bold as to make a prediction, and I'm not a chart guy, so it would be disingenuous if I did, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm just thinking out loud, sharing why it's reasonable to suppose that this is plausible. That's what I'm talking about. But $150 XRP, not a snowball's chance in hell. It's just not happening. And I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, and I'll do so happily. That's fine. But I really don't think there's like a remote chance that's going to happen here. And so that's why, again, because the way money flows through, it starts at Bitcoin, flows through everything else. So you have to have a crazy amount of money flowing to Bitcoin if you think XRP is going to hit $150 this market cycle. It ain't gonna happen. The crypto pie will be tens of trillions of dollars at some point in the future, and maybe it even hits 10 trillion this market cycle. I don't pretend to know where it's going to peak. But my God, you're not over 20 trillion just in Bitcoin this market cycle? Maybe at some point in the future that actually happens, and if it does, okay, fine. I'm not making a price prediction. But now? This year? Are you kidding? It's completely absurd. So whatever calculations Javon Marks is doing here, and he's talking about, following, what do you write here? With a full logarithmic follow through, 41,400% increase for XRP. Don't do that then, because that doesn't make sense. It's simply, you can't slap down the same percentage increase from one cycle to the next, knowing that there's already way more money into it. That's why I started the video explaining, the more money is in an ecosystem, the harder it is to get it just to double in price. So you can't then say, hey, here's a 42,000% increase back in 2017. Therefore, slap it down in 2024. It's happened before. Well, no, it hasn't. It happened when there was almost no money in it back in 2017. And there's still not like a crazy amount in it now, but there's way more money in XRP now than back then. It's not even close. So it ain't happening. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think, but that's where I'm at. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.